What's up, you guys? Welcome back to 2740 Solutions. Adam here. So I'm on the way to wash a car for my Turo business. Gonna flip the car around. It got dropped off at the same location as it's getting picked up early the next morning. So that's some good logistics right there. But it made me think that we should start our Thursday thoughts off with my thoughts on Turo, and then also just on kind of people jumping into business and jumping into entrepreneurship and stuff like that. So we'll start it off on a very macro scale. So for instance, I grew up in in a household where both my parents were pretty much only familiar with going to work, like more of a 9-to-5 style. Obviously, save money, invest in retirement. Some of my grandparents were in the Air Force or the Army, so we're kind of familiar with pension systems and all that kind of stuff. Some pretty normal, quote normal kind of middle class American systems of making money and then making sure you're set for the future. I do appreciate my family giving me such a great opportunity to basically do whatever I want and be successful at whatever I put my mind to. So I do appreciate that. But just speaking from what actually happened, I'm really not very familiar with how to make money in a non-standard, more of like an entrepreneurial way. Like, not many people in my family really even own businesses or are part of that segment. So not a ton of mentors there, so I kind of had to forge my own way. So about a year and a half ago, I was finishing up my deployment in Iraq, and we had you have some time on your hands over there as far, because you have you got to work during the day or during the night or whenever you need to be doing your mission. But then you don't have your family there to hang out with, you don't have all your friends there to hang out with. So besides working out, eating, and you got some time to burn, some time to think. So I decided that I needed to learn first and foremost how to actually get into the business of convincing people to take their hard-earned money and give it to me for a good or service rendered. And I know that kind of sounds pretty basic, but for me, I've always been getting paid by just like a job or whatever it may be, that's more on like an hourly or a salary basis, not really as much on like a performance basis. So that was my primary goal. And honestly, after I looked at a bunch of different ideas, Turo, Uber, Lyft, affiliate marketing of all types, it's just I settled on Turo because I love buying cars, I love selling cars, I love detailing cars, and I needed to learn with a product that I believed in. So that's how I got started in Turo. Now my primary goal with Turo, again, was learning. It is not profit, because before I get out of the Army, and everyone gets out of the military no matter what, whether you get out after doing 90 days of service or whether you get out doing 30 years, 33 years of service, everyone gets out of the military. So because of that, I want to start sharpening my business sword, sharpening myself as a businessman, as a potential salesman, potential manager in the corporate world, all those things. I want to start sharpening that before I'm even close to getting out, so that it's not some sort of cliff drop. I don't want to be those people with the grass is greener on the other side view, because it's good to be optimistic, but that kind of stuff kind of pisses me off. So back to Turo thoughts. So I went in, I wanted to, my goal was to at least make all the costs associated, so I would come out, break even. But if I was going to make a little money, that's great. But the primary goal was to learn how to, develop a product or service that is valuable enough to the customer that they transfer me their hard-earned money in exchange for the product or service that I provide. And again, it sounds so simple, but I have never really done it other than, lawn mowing and stuff like that. So on a larger level, that was the goal. And that's what I did. So I started the business. When you first start your Turo business, you gotta offer even more value than a normal experienced host. You know, you won't be an all-star host yet. You won't get those great rankings. You don't have a lot of reviews, if any. So people don't really trust you. They don't want to be the guinea pig, because if your car says no trips and it's got some okay photos and people think the price might be a little too high, even if they're wrong, even if you have a great price, you have to convince them that your car is the one they want. So we're gonna keep this video at more of like a thought level, not an execution level on like the ins and outs of Turo. But I brought it up because I think that Turo is a great opportunity for most people, a great opportunity to learn a ton about themselves, learn a ton about customer service, especially for those of us who are not really in that field already by way of our job. And it's tough sledding out there, especially with the whole economic disaster going on with all the current events. You know, it's the middle of 2020 right now. I'll let you guys fill that in, whether you're watching this video tonight or whether you're watching it in 2 years. Everybody knows that 2020 has been an absolute nut roll of a year. It's basically a dumpster fire that might even have, like, you know, a bomb in it. So it's just a crazy year. So hopefully it'll just start getting slowly better, but I don't really see that happening with what's going on in November. So that's just gonna make everything crazier. Anyway, back to the topic. So with Turo, I've had multiple pretty high power individuals ask me if, you know, ask me for my thoughts on Turo. Honestly, they wanted me to tell them that Turo is a great idea for them. And they're both, like I said, pretty high caliber individuals and already have stuff going where they're both making money and they're learning a lot. So I actually recommended to both of those individuals that they keep doing what they're doing and then maybe look elsewhere, because both of their goals were profit motivated. Even though they're car guys, even though they appreciate everything, you know, they're great guys. It's just that's what I was trying to tell them. Like, hey, you guys are not, you know, you guys are not in need of all the lessons learned from this. And it's a lot of hard lessons on Turo. I mean, everyone's out here driving your car around, potentially driving it like a race car, ping-ponging it off of everything. There's a lot of insurance stuff involved, a lot of liability, a lot of extra cleaning now with the whole, you know, pandemic going on. So just a lot of squeezing for not a lot of juice, especially if your primary goal is profit. So I ended up recommending to both of them not to do it, and to you know, one of them is already working on a side gig on a cool startup that he's working on. You guys actually might hear from him in the future. We're gonna be working together on something. And so I recommended to him that he just put more time and effort into that. And then my other friend is involved in some real estate, and then he's got a good job during the day as well that makes him plenty of money. So I think that you know, both of them are better served, you know, staying in their respective lanes that they've carved out for themselves. And we'll hop over to who I would recommend Turo for. I would recommend Turo to anybody who is kind of from a standard conventional upbringing, who maybe doesn't really have any experience convincing people or you know, providing customer service, convincing people to give them money for a good or service rendered. Turo for me made a lot of sense because I'm obsessed with cars. I'm obsessed with buying cars. I like to sell cars. I like to talk to car people who appreciate the car, and I bought all cars that are all pretty niche cars, so pretty much a guarantee there. But I really, if you start Turo, you gotta have something else going. It cannot be your only source of income. You need either a big reserve fund that you can draw from for your living expenses, or you need to have a job that's, you know, paying the bills so that you can at least get your Turo business up and running. It took me about 3 months to be profitable. Now granted, I started in the low season, like kind of tailing off into that November, December, January timeframe, which is the slowest part of the year for Turo. And then obviously some other stuff happened with the current events that you guys all know about. But still making some money. Got a bunch of cars. You know, I got 5 cars to my name right now. And I'm actually, the only one I can drive right now is the RAV4 that we're in, because all the other cars are getting worked on or whatever it may be, on rentals, all the good stuff. So good problem to have, but you know, So we'll wrap this thing up. If you're thinking about doing Turo and you have a little bit of money, a little bit of capital that you can devote to a car payment, and you can still afford that car, you know, you need to have it as your second car. There's almost no way that you can do it with only one car, and that's your personal car. So if you can afford a second car and afford to make those payments, but potentially, you know, maybe you can make some money on it, I would recommend it. Again, it's a lot of time invested though. You got to be ready to, you know, be at kind of a beck and call, which we'll get into. There's a lot of logistics involved. There's some liability involved. Obviously there's insurance, but you know, it's still not fun when your cars get damaged, when your cars get crashed, or when people are not communicating well. There's downsides for sure. So, closing thoughts, you know, DM me on Instagram if you are thinking about starting Turo. Give me a little bit of information about your life, and I'll give you a yay or nay recommendation and some things you might want to think about. Customized to you, obviously free of charge. I want to make sure people aren't jumping in over their head. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow us on Instagram, 2740 Solutions. This concludes our first Thursday Thoughts video centered on should you start Turo. We're going through a little construction right now, so we're going to finish this up. Get you 2 free stocks with Webull by signing up and then depositing $100. And stay safe out there. Stay tuned for some more videos, one a day at least. Got to hold myself accountable, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.